A small introduction on that project. It's a world wrap system. It's a 2D map that allow you to travel in a world that repeats itself without looking that way too much. And it's simply a 2D map where you get from one point to the other. So if I go exit the map from the right, I will then go to the left. If I exit the map from the top, I will go from the bottom, kind of being teleported from one point to another. Um, so in the following video, you will look how the method I used, and I just to you must know that that part will need of you to know programming and have a good experience in Godot, or at least if you're a programmer, maybe this will help you because I use some classes and they are kind of elaborate, but they work for mainly those are rigid body 2D, and the stars they're animated sprite, and as you can see, it works rather well, rather well. You don't even see the shift when I change from one point to another. So, if that's something that may work for you, I suggest you to listen to the rest of the video. But if you don't know anything about coding, maybe you should try to learn much more about coding in Godot before trying to go through with that video because it will be too much for you, I fear. So anyway, um, thanks. We're in 2025 here using Godot 4.3. So I wanted to make a world wrap around this space shooter, and it wasn't really easy since it's not something that really works in Godot. You must make a special class and everything. So if you're interested in doing something like this, maybe you can just listen to this video, and also I will post something on GitHub with all the code that's here free. So I'm gonna walk you through how it really works. And for now, it's just something like there's no really fancy functionality about this code. I try to just make something that work with the base that will work. So first of all, you can see that it kind of really work well. You don't notice the glitch or anything. But if I just stop the video and zoom out my camera, you will maybe see how it really works. So that's my 2D world, and that's how it gets from one way to the other. So I've turned debugging option on in my global script. That may be here, and I'll let you see that's just everything that's blue there. It's a fake meteoroid. They're a copy of the meteoroid that's on the other side. Okay, so the scripts I made does it just take the one from the meteoroid that on the right and put them on the left, and does this for everything plus the corner. So you get like 8 case that correspond to the 8 corners. So if I go into my level and into my platform, which is there, okay. So the most important thing there, here I have a collision shape that is meant as a garbage collector, so it's not really important for there. But here is, if I look at that shape, That shape, the player, when he exit that shape, he wrap to the other side, and the meteoroid are the same. So that's my base shape for the whole working thing, this collision shape there. So when I am entering from this side, I'm going to this side, and if I go from this corner there, then to this corner there, I will reappear from this corner there. Um, mm, this square here, this collision shape, uh, what it does, it's from where my player can see. So if my player is on here, so the collision shape must be far away, so you can see that there's nothing on that side. Um, I don't know if it's clear, but I hope so. So you can always go back to the project folder that I post on GitHub. So to look. Um, Now I'm gonna go to my class and go through the structure of how this thing works. Uh, so I'm going to my Meteor class. I try to go to my Meteor class. Yeah, okay. Um, my Meteor are instantiated on my level script. They're here, and basically just create 600 meteor and then put them in the level and give them speed, and also ensure that there's no collision when the meteor are created. That's the first thing. Every meteor is related to this meteor script, and I have many meteors. They're all of the same shape or architecture, but with different sprite. Different sprite. Yeah, and they all have their own collision shape. But what is important there is that I've got a rigid body 2D here, and then a sprite 2D, and everything else. So that's the important part. You must have a rigid body if you want something that will be dynamic, and with a sprite 2D inside, because the system will use those. Okay, so if I look at my Meteor script here, and by the way, each Meteor is related to the same script. So here I have the same script everywhere for all the Meteors. Okay, so here I load my custom class that I've programmed painfully. A lot of pain there. And I instantiate my class, and what I give it is the object I want to duplicate, because they are all duplicates. Then I want to give it my world collision shape, the place from which I disappear and reappear on the other side. And then the horizon, so the place where my player can see. Okay, where my player can see. The horizon must be bigger that, so maybe you have to fiddle with that. Here I have a debugging. It works so that I can printing, but only when debugging. It also turn the color of the duplicate blue, so it's helpful to know if something's bad. And then I'll give the meteor some speed. Every time the meteor script is processed, I've got this function there, that's from my class there, and it will process the position of each meteor, each duplicate, I'm sorry. the duplicate of the meteor. How it works? Here I have my class, and I told you it was painful, so I'm using Sprite 2D there. That are a copy of the original object Sprite 2D, and I am using a remote transform 2D. What it does is basically it keeps a copy of the transform of the base meteor, the meteor that's real, the real meteor, and it keep a copy of the rotation and everything. So that my clone will look exactly the same as does my real object. Okay. There is how the limits are calculated from the collision shape of my world wrap collision shape and my horizon collision shape. And you can also use static objects. I'll come to that later, but here it's mainly it tells here that you need to create the dynamic object if your system use dynamic object, of course. So here is the code. I don't think you really need to know about it, but it keep reference of both the duplicate sprite and the remote transform of each of the, could say, the zone. So for example, here I have north, south, east, and west for the sides, and here I have the corners. And you always gonna look at 8 types of duplicates. So I'm keeping reference for them. Same thing for the remote transform. Here I link the remote transform to their original object. Here I don't want to update the position or the scale. I will do that manually for the remote transform. Okay. And of course I want to add them to my object. So add those as child of my meteor, for example. Okay, so now this position. Okay, I give him a global position, and then it translates it into a grid position. Okay, so that's it. And if it doesn't find anything, if it's not on one of the 4 corner or the 4 side, then it just return null. And here I'm treating my duplicate, and this function is just called every times at each process of my meteor. It's called there. Won't work anyway if you don't do that. So I'm creating my duplicate. I'm calling my grid position function, and it gives me my grid position. So now I just create the duplicate according to my grid position. So and I'm spawning it. No, sorry. Okay. I'm not in the good function. That's the good one. So, but those are kind of very similar. This one is for static object, and this one is for dynamic object. And why I use one for static object is my regular workflow doesn't support animated sprite. This one, the dynamic process works with Sprite 2D, but won't work with animated sprite. So I just scope the static process is just scoping the object instead of using the old transform 2D and everything. So, but I'll try to explain the dynamic one. So, yeah, that function it is just calculate where it should be and put it there. Simple as it. And it does that you've got, for example, if my object is northwest corner, it must apply the N, it must apply the W, and it must apply NW. And if it's just east, it must just apply east and then it just go through there. So if it's combined, it need to apply every letters of each. So I made it simple that way. And here I've got some print. So that's it. Dynamic object there. I'll instantiate it. I'd go back and I just create my class, load my class, create my class using the object I want to duplicate with the object, my collision shape where I'm wrapped, and the collision shape where as far as I want to see, and how the object, how my player or my other object they're teleported. It's in here. So I've got a script there with a signal. So each time this collision shape is exited, then it just calculate the new position and put the object there. It's the same thing here for the meteoroid. That's the code for the meteoroid, and there's small things that I adjusted there because the meteoroid they're physics objects. So if you try to apply change in the process function, you may have some issues. So the way there is just to process them in the physics process function. And the way you do that is you just keep a memory of the event, and when you go and you put them in, for example, there it's a list name areas to wrap, and you just process them in, put them in there, and then process it in the physics process. Here I get my wrapping function, and that's the way the meteoroid pass from one way to another. And I'm not talking here about the clones, just the real meteor, and they're just my real player. Here I've got some garbage function. If you enter that, then you're garbage, and I just free you. So that's it for that. And then I wanted static object. Here in my system, the static object, they're the stars. So, and they're, I don't know if you can see them, but they're white and they're twinkly. The stars, I wanted, they're made of animated sprite 2D. So I wanted them to work with the whole system. But the issue is that I can just take the texture from an animated sprite 2D. It won't work. So I thought I just have to copy and reuse some code. So I'll show you how the stars work. So I'm going to my stars here, stars script. The star scripts is from my level here. That's what it looked like. Okay. So important the way it is made. So here I've got my animated sprite. but it must be located into another node, a parent node. Don't use the star into don't put the animated sprite into nothing and try to run it. It won't work. So here's the code. Like I did before, I just load my object, my class, and then I'm creating the stars. So my class is instantiated there. So it works the same. So then use the object I want to copy. There, it's an object to copy, and I give it my two collision shape there and there. And here I've got a value that indicate that it is static, so it won't call other functions. It will use a static. And then here I create the duplicate by using my class. But the thing is that the duplicate must be created not in the same node as, for example, if the node just get dumped into star node, the new node created, what will happen is that its position will be altered by the parent node position, and it won't work. You have trouble with this. So the idea here is that you call the stars into the parent node, and that's what the dollar sign, and that's what it means, and it will be added there too. Okay, so if I run this and I go look at the stars, yeah, remote level stars, and look at the nodes. Some of them are copy and some of them are not. But what is important there is that they're not all under the first node there. If it was, it would not work at all. Trust me, I know. Okay, so I made a few things so that I could debug. For example, this line, if to give you a little look at what's happening there. So I'll go to my camera, put it back where it was, and basically the class I've created should work if you apply it in the correctly. So that's really what's happening, and the line is just the line that I put on the left of the grid, and you can see that it really worked well. I really like this part because it kind of worked without any issues or anything, and that's a really good start for my game. So since the last videos I've seen, it's a great video that explains everything about how it really works. I think I'm gonna link it. If I forget, just tell me. But the issue there is that Godot is really evolving, and that means that the old stuff does not work anymore in most of the cases. So I tried something new, and the things I've seen were not really working with the same way this one worked. This one is made with dynamic objects. It's made really to work with a larger map. And by the way, the way I made the map is by using tile map layer, and basically it's the same tile. I changed the tile size. I put it to, it was 16 I think, and I put it to 256. And I just replicated the old tile on all the okay, everywhere. And the thing there is that I'm aligned my collision layer. They're all aligned on the tiles. So if, for example, there you see the corner must align. This one, the outer one can be a little bit far, but this one they must align on the sides. Oops. What it means is that I have tiles there. My collision shape, I must get the same two tile on the other side, because it will not work anyway. So if you have questions, please put them in the YouTube, and please subscribe. Maybe just put a thumbs up, and maybe it can help some other people. So I thank you very much. Have a nice day. A small edit on the previous version of the system. I've done some slight change. When I tried the system on other computer with better resolution than this computer, I had some issues. So I needed to make some change, and I will explain to you the change that I made. So first of all, my tile map layer here, I added some tile like this to make it larger. That's the first thing, and then I modified my boundaries there. So the two that I had to modify, the most important is the central one there, my word wrapper here, I didn't change it. This one was still right, but I had to enlarge this one. That's the part where you create your fake meteoroid in that case. So this one had to be adjusted to make it larger. So when your screen is larger, your player still get the effect of turning around an infinite world. I also had to move those ones, since I still want them to be able to just delete anything that passed through that barrier. So that's one first thing, and the other thing is I found out that on some screen the player was really small, but it should have been. So I tried to harmonize it. So I added something to my camera there. I added the custom code. So usually you set the zoom there, but the issue with the zoom is that it doesn't care if your screen has a good resolution or not. It just computes itself. So on a big screen you will have a really small with a big resolution, we'll have a very small player, and with a bad resolution, you'll have a really large player and almost no 4C. So how I did that is I added a script. I added an export variable, override zoom. If it's to 0, it does nothing, as here. So, but if you put some value there, it will use it will use the lowest For example, if you're usually it will use the 8 of the screen, but if your screen is less large, then it will use the minimum size anyway, the minimum length of your screen. And I found out that that was the best way to do it. It works, not perfect, but it works. So here I get a ratio. That's this side with this value, and then I just set the zoom to this ratio. Anyway, and it starts when the camera is initiated. So that's about all. Anyway, I hope that will help someone. I know it's not really explained, and it's kind of advanced things. It took me almost a week to figure out this, and I'm kind of new to Godot, but I'm kind of new, but I kind of learning fast, and with some work, I think you can do so. And just go check this class, and if you're able to use this class in the way that I use in this tutorial. If you go check how the objects are placed and you copy that part, you will be able to make your own world. Also, check the version. It's 2025, but Godot is moving really fast, and that means that the function, the objects, the classes, they change much, and that's kind of really hard sometimes because it's harder to find what you need. So that's why I'm doing this video, so you can have a more simple way to make your thing work. And anyway, I try to mostly when I find something, I go on the forum. I post my stuff, my methods, the way that it worked for me, especially where it's not really explained. I put small stuff there, and I encourage you to do the same thing, because here we're doing open source, so you're the one who's gonna make the documentation for everything. So thanks for helping, thanks for supporting open source software, and thanks for listening to this. So have a nice day.